Hello everybody and welcome to my new channel. My name is Jim the Toy Cannon and this is Toy Cannon Sports. So one of my biggest passions is sports. I watch a ton of sports, mostly American sports. Probably watch too much of it. I know a whole bunch about sports. I follow it really closely. I follow football, basketball, baseball, American football by the way, not international football. I follow the real game where grown men play, not the communist sport as my dad likes to call it. So on this channel, we're going to just be talking about breaking news, things going on. We're going to talk a lot of Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, because those are my favorite teams. But we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're not going to just try and do like ESPN does where they just focus on LeBron or like the Cowboys or whatever. I'm going to try and talk about all of them. I'm also going to do a lot of history videos and facts videos. Hopefully some history you guys don't know, maybe some you do. Hopefully some facts you guys don't know. If you guys have any ideas for a video you want me to do, some research you want me to do, put it down in the comments. Let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. But right now the sports world, at least in the U.S., across the world it's something else, but at least in the U.S., it is focused on the NFL playoffs right now. We just had the wild card round and I shot that video where I did predictions and I was going to talk about the games. It is Sunday night, so the games just ended for the first round, but I didn't get that video out in time. And thank God I didn't, because I would have gone 1-3 in my predictions. I only got the Chargers beating the Ravens correct. I missed the Colts beating the Texans. I missed the Cowboys beating the Seahawks. And I missed the Eagles beating the Bears. But that one was really close, except Mr. Hits the Bar hit the bar. Bears fans know what I'm talking about. That would have made that prediction correct, but I went 1-3, so luckily that video didn't make it out. Professional American football is probably the one I follow the least. I do follow it, and I follow the Rams more than I follow NFL. Baseball is my favorite sport. Basketball second. NFL and college football are right there at 3. So let's talk a little bit about the wild card round, and then we'll come back and I'm going to do some predictions this time for the divisional round. Is it called the divisional round? A lot of really close, exciting games. I've kind of figured that would happen. We figured some defenses would step up, because especially in American sports, when you get to the postseason, except baseball is kind of the same game. You do try to generate more runs, so you may play a little bit more small ball than you regularly do. But especially in basketball, I see it a lot in playoffs, and it looks like it's happening again in the NFL, is the ref seems to swallow their whistle. And for those who don't know that term, it just simply means the refs aren't calling as many fouls as they normally call, or penalties in football. This year you saw a ton of pass interference. Really, if you breathe on a wide receiver, if you breathe on the quarterback, it seems like there was a flag thrown all the time. When you get into the playoffs, because they mean a little bit more, it seems like the refs let some things slide. So we definitely saw some very tough defense, especially in that Chargers-Ravens game, dude. Melvin Ingram went off. I think he had, 2 sacks, a strip sack, a couple tackles for losses, was just all over the place. He's an absolute stud. Weird game with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson couldn't get it going until it was kind of too late. There was the argument of should they bring Flacco in. I thought they should have, but if you're John Harbaugh, you just gotta kind of roll with the quarterback you have. I guess you can't take out your rookie quarterback and show you don't have any confidence in him. Really couldn't get it going though, and that's one of the issues with running quarterbacks, is if you can keep him in the pocket, if you can send a spy out, if you can kind of lock up the run and force him to be a passer, it starts to get a little messy in there, and you could see Lamar Jackson having trouble reading the defenses and making the right read, and then the throws were short or long, and he was kind of just off. Got to go in there in the 4th, but it was just a little bit too late. What Lamar Jackson has to eventually become, and I like Lamar Jackson, and I'm rooting for him. I like mobile quarterbacks, but he's got to not be a running quarterback. I think we saw with Michael Vick and some of these running quarterbacks and Cam Newton, injuries happen. So what Lamar Jackson has to do is become a guy who is a mobile quarterback, scrambling quarterback, is kind of a Patrick Mahomes. Ben Roethlisberger did this a lot. John Elway, who's my favorite player of all time, did this really well. Steve Young did it. Is get out of the pocket, extend the play, and then make the right read and throw, and then run if need be, and try and slide, because you see a lot of injuries. Michael Vick, that one time, if you guys have ever seen it, he just gets sandwiched as he's diving and breaks a rib or something.
And it wasn't much, but that was the hold that they got. And then
very, very stout Ravens D figured that was going to happen. They gave a lot of trouble. The offense couldn't get it going long enough or quick enough to make this a closer game. That Ravens D is legit. They're a very, very talented defense. And I hope they bring Harbaugh back. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of him. Who are you going to bring in, really? I mean, are you going to bring in McCarthy? Like, is that who you really want to bring in? I think Harbaugh's shown that he can adjust and adapt with a new quarterback. He's already won a Super Bowl. Give the guy more chances. Ravens fans, because they lost, probably disagree with me. Ravens fans, let me know if you guys think they should fire him. Or if you just, any fans of any team, let me know down in the description if you think they should get rid of Harbaugh, who they should try and bring in. Colts Texans, Deshaun Watson just couldn't get it going. Yeah, he threw 50 times, threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked 3 times. Ran for 76 yards. So, I mean, he tried. Lamar Miller, only 18 yards. But 29 of 49. Colts D is a lot better than I thought it was. I don't follow the Colts, and I only follow Deshaun Watson because he's my fantasy quarterback this year. Seahawks Cowboys again. Seahawks made a run late, but it was a little bit too late. Obviously, Ezekiel Elliott's going to carry any Cowboys team right now. Dak Prescott, good quarterback, but yeah, 226 yards, a touchdown, interception, but Ezekiel Elliott had 137 yards and a touchdown, and Amari Cooper 106 yards and no touchdowns. But I think did have 7 receptions. So they traded a first rounder to the Oakland Raiders for him, and it looks like that trade is making a lot of sense. It also looks like the Golden Tate trade for the Eagles is coming through now because Tate had a touchdown late. They made it exciting. I didn't watch a ton of this game. I did pick the Seahawks, which I was wrong. I thought Russell Wilson would have a bigger day, but that Dallas Cowboys defense is very, very talented. I don't know if Sean Lee's back. Cowboys fans, let me know. Again, I don't watch all the football. I don't watch the Cowboys all that much. I do know Van Der Esch is having a great game, and Lawrence is a beast. But you got great linebackers there, a guy who can rush the quarterback, and a defense that's stepping up, and a Cowboys team that's on a roll right now. Eagles-Bears, man. A tough defensive-led game, which is not that surprising. It's exactly the game I thought. The Eagles D, let's talk about Bears D. Bears D should have won this game. A missed field goal at the end, they should have won. They played really well. Trubisky played pretty good. They're a talented team, and they're going to be very dangerous as we move forward here, with Trubisky getting another year under his belt. Next year, they're going to be another dangerous team. Khalil Mack playing at just a all-pro level. Really like Khalil Mack. Not a fan of the Raiders, but I do like when the Raiders are good. Really like Khalil Mack. He's obviously a freak. He had a huge game too, didn't he? See, when you talk about the effect of the game, like for a defensive lineman like Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald or J.J. Watt or any of these guys that are, I'm just a couple to name. I know there's a ton that I could put there, but their effect is not only the sacks. Their effect is you can shut down a side of a field. You can't run towards him. You got to run away from him. Aaron Donald comes up the middle. You can't run up the middle. Also, he puts pressure on the quarterback, gets the quarterback out of the pocket, gets him moving, throwing, making bad decisions. That's what you're hoping for. It kind of forces an interception or something like that. But also, especially if you watch Aaron Donald, you have to put 2 men on him. Okay, so now you've put 2 guys to block 1 guy, and Aaron Donald throughout the year, and I'm sure it was the same with Khalil Mack, got a ton of holding penalties called on the offense. So now they've lost 10 yards, and that's where their effect is. Obviously, you may only have 1 sack or no sacks or 2 sacks. At most, really probably 3. Their effect isn't just the sacks, it's stripping the ball or changing the way the offense, if you can't run up the middle or if you can't run to the left where Mack is or the right where Mack is, and you have to worry about that all the time and run options the other way, well, that's their big effect. I honestly wouldn't be brokenhearted if they gave Aaron Donald the MVP. They won't. It'll go to Patrick Mahomes, which is deserved. He had a huge, huge year. Back to the Eagles, Parkey. Parkey's the kicker that missed the field goal. And I guess he's hit the bar like 6 times this year, something crazy. He's like double. Number 2 was only at 3. But I was getting ready for this video, and they got the ball back, and they made the huge plays, and they get down there close, and they're throwing at the end zone, and we're like, what are they doing? Kick the field goal. Like, come on, get him out there, kick the field goal. Now we see why. He was shooting for that touchdown because, man, what a heartbreaker. And I stood there. I was standing edge of my living room watching TV, watching the game. And when he missed, I hear the ping, and I was kind of looking away, and I hear the ping, and just sitting there in shock. I'm not even a Bears fan. As a matter of fact, I didn't want them to move on because I don't want the Rams to have to play them because of that defense. But, man, Nick Foles just figures it out with this team, doesn't he? He just keeps it going, and that's what's crazy. They have Carson Wentz, and they're kind of bouncing around and then, winning some games, losing some games, not really playing all that well. And then Nick Foles comes in because Wentz gets hurt and I don't know, just has a rhythm with him, and it happens sometimes like that. As a quarterback and a coach, and offense gets on a roll, and then defense starts playing better because the offense is letting them rest, keeping the ball and scoring, and so now they're pumped up. The whole team just plays better. So I still think Carson Wentz is the better quarterback, obviously, and if he can stay healthy for a whole year, I'd love to see what he can do in a full season. But you got to give Nick Foles some credit, man. He drove him down, and even through all the bumps and everything, hit Golden Tate on that touchdown, and that Doug Peterson makes the right calls late in the game. They're a dangerous team, but I do think they're going to lose to the Saints. Now that we've talked about the wild card, let's move on to the divisional round. So in the divisional round, we have 2 games Saturday, January 12th, and 2 games Sunday, January 13th. Let's start at the first game here. So the first game is the Los Angeles Rams and the Dallas Cowboys. This is played at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. So let's break it down really quick. Let's just talk about the statistical leaders and compare them a little bit. Dak Prescott versus Jared Goff. Honestly, this is kind of a wash for me. I don't think either one has really any upside over the other. I think the Rams played in a little bit more of a high-powered offense, so I think Jared Goff's numbers may look better. But if you watch Jared Goff, especially some of those last couple weeks, really was forcing stuff. Makes only one read. Jared Goff seems to only make one read, so he doesn't look like he goes through progressions. He just locks onto his guy and throws it there. So people started to read that, and there's a lot of movement in the Rams offense. It's very high-powered. But if you can slow Gurley down and force Goff to beat you, it becomes very, very dangerous. But on the other side, if you slow Ezekiel Elliott down and force Dak Prescott to beat you, it's the same problem. So I'll call that a wash. Ezekiel Elliott and Todd Gurley. Again, I'll call that a wash. I think they're both very, 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 very talented. They're both probably the best 2. I think the best 2 running backs in football. I think it goes Gurley, Elliott, and then maybe Saquon is right there, or even Kamara might be there. Christian McCaffrey, I really like. I think he's in the top 5 or so. I'll call it a wash. In my heart, it's Todd Gurley, but I'll call it a wash at this point. You have Robert Woods and Amari Cooper. Talent-wise, people will probably say Cooper's better. Numbers-wise, Robert Woods is better. I'll even call that a wash because Robert Woods is a very, very talented wide receiver. I think Amari Cooper has more upside because I think Amari Cooper's now in an offense that uses him. He's putting up better numbers, but again, we'll kind of call that a wash. Defensively, I think the Cowboys may have a slight edge here, depending on if Wade Phillips can kind of get it together. There was some times where, if Peters plays better and Talib and Joyner and some of these guys on that side, that secondary it can be exposed a little bit. But the strength of the Cowboys is the run game. It's Ezekiel Elliott. Hate to break it to you Cowboys fans if you guys think it's Dak. It's Elliott. I'm not breaking anything. You guys know. I think the X factor here is definitely going to be Aaron Donald. I think if with Gurley and Elliott so close and Goff and Prescott so close, I think the top X factor here is Lawrence and Donald. Donald is the best defensive player in football. If the Rams secondary can hold it down and Donald can get pressure and Sue and Brockers, there's a ton of talent on that Rams defense. I know the Cowboys are on a roll. I just can't pick against the Rams. I'm rooting for the Rams. They're my favorite team. I'm a Rams fan now. I grew up a Broncos fan, but since the Rams came back to Los Angeles and I'm near LA, I got to go with the Rams. I think it's going to be a good game, close game. Luckily, the Rams are at home. Hopefully, they don't let us down like they did last year, but I think Gurley's going to take over. I think they're going to get that run game going. I think they're going to run Gurley heavy, run C.J. Anderson, who was great for them the last couple of weeks when they signed him. I picked him up when Gurley went down on my fantasy, helped me win that one. I'd go with the Rams, just out of a heart pick. Next game on Saturday is our first AFC game. It is the Colts versus the Chiefs. Again, let's look at the statistical leaders and then kind of talk about who I think are going to win, who I think is going to win. We have Luck versus Mahomes. Statistically, Patrick Mahomes is better, more passing yards, more touchdown, less interceptions. Andrew Luck really started to get it going, though. He's been on a roll. I do think I'm going to give a slight edge for Mahomes. Only, man, that's even tough. When you get to these last couple games, there's a reason they're in these last 8 teams now. I'll give a slight edge just because how he's been playing. He's been balling out. I'll give a slight edge for Patrick Mahomes. Talent-wise, I think Andrew Luck is just as good. But I'll give the slight edge to Mahomes, especially at home in Kansas City. It's a tough place to play. Chiefs fans get rowdy, so I'll give a slight edge to Mahomes there. Kareem Hunt versus Mac. Hunt is not in. Hunt had the incident with the girl in the hotel room or whatever, in the hotel hallway, and lied about it, I guess, to the NFL, and it's a whole thing, and so he will not be playing. That's a huge hit to the Chiefs. Whether they want to admit it or not, of course they don't. It's a huge hit, and they're not the same team without Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, I would give the edge over Mac, but Mac is playing. So running back-wise, I'll give the edge to the Colts. Mac's a good ball player. Tyreek Hill versus T.Y. Hilton. Tyreek Hill seems like one of the fastest dudes alive, and skill-wise, if you talk about route running and all that, yeah, T.Y. Hilton's probably up there, but I'm going to give the edge to Tyreek Hill here. He's just so fast, and his nickname of the Cheetah is so fitting. Defensive-wise, I'd probably give the edge to the Colts. Watching the Chiefs this year, man, that defense needs to step up a little bit. They got into a lot of shootouts, and though you're at home, I don't know if I want to get in too many shootouts here, and especially if you win this game and get to the next round, I really wouldn't want to get in a shootout, especially if it's Brady. Little foreshadowing there on that one. The run defense isn't very good. They need to play tougher. The Colts D just held the good Texans offense to 7 points, and they've been on a roll. I'm going to go with an upset here. I want to go with the Chiefs because I actually do think they'll win, but I'll go out on a limb and go with the upset, and I'll go with the Colts in Kansas City. A little bit more of a veteran quarterback, a little bit better defense. No Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go Colts on the road. So we move on to the Sunday games. The first one is the Los Angeles Chargers, which is still weird, versus the New England Patriots. Quick comparison again for the statistical leaders. You have Rivers versus Brady. Brady gets the nod on that one. Melvin Gordon versus Sony Michel. Melvin Gordon would get the nod, but I believe he's injured. I think he got hurt in this game. I wasn't watching the full game, but I think he got hurt. So it would be Sony Michel versus Austin Eckler, technically. I'll still give the advantage there to the Chargers. Eckler is better than Sony Michel. Sorry if you disagree. So it did like he got hurt, but he did return, so I'll give the advantage. I'll just say Melvin Gordon's in. I'll give the advantage to the Chargers for Melvin Gordon, definitely over Sony Michel. Melvin Gordon we had last year on our fantasy team, and we had David Johnson who got hurt, and some other people who got hurt, but he just kind of carried us to the only ones we did. But this year, we got Todd Gurley. So we have Keenan Allen versus Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman, the guy that gives white dudes way too much hope. Kind of like Steve Nash, gives undersized white guys false hope. You got to give the advantage to Allen here. He's bigger, stronger, probably faster. Edelman plays with a better quarterback, but Keenan Allen is definitely a very, very talented wide receiver, and I'll give the advantage to the Chargers here. Defensive-wise, oh boy. Advantage, I think, has got to go Chargers. Chargers are 4-1 in their last 5. New England is 3-2. Let's see, did they play this year? Even with all that, and I know you're sighing because I should pick against the Patriots, but I'm not going to. Rivers is 0-8 in his career versus Tom Brady, and I believe that is going to 0-9 because it doesn't matter what the numbers show. It matters that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are still there, and they're coming off of a bye, and you just can't pick against the GOAT right now. I think the AFC Championship round, the AFC Conference Championship round will be the Indianapolis Colts versus the New England Patriots. I'm going with the upset on that one. We'll talk about those next week. After these games, we'll do another review and talk about it. The last game we have is the Eagles and the Saints. Once again, this is Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz won't be in, so it's Nick Foles versus Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Nick Foles is a good quarterback. This is an obvious advantage. Brees. And then you have Adams versus Kamara. Obvious advantage here for the Saints again. Kamara over Adams by a fairly substantial amount. It's actually Zach Ertz versus Michael Thomas. I'll give edge Thomas. Even if you wanted to go Alshon Jeffrey or Nelson Aguilar or Golden Tate, I still think one-on-one it's probably still Michael Thomas is the more talented wide receiver. Saints D's played a lot better than it started out as, and they became a very tough place to play, and it's going to be in New Orleans. Tough defense to play. The Eagles just showed that they're also a very difficult defense to play. There's a ton of talent on that side. But I'm not picking against Drew Brees at home off of a bye. Just not going to happen. I think the Eagles, now this could be completely wrong, so save this part. But I got Saints over Eagles. So the NFC Conference Championship, I think, will be the Los Angeles Rams heading down to the Big Easy, and it will be the LA Rams versus the New Orleans Saints. Go ahead in the comments, let me know why I'm absolutely wrong. I probably am. I was 1-3 last week, so I don't know anything apparently. Let me know all the stupid stuff I said. Also, do me a big favor. Please hit that big red subscribe button. Turn on the notification. Like this video, comment and share it. Also follow me. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at ToyCannonYT. You can follow this channel on Twitter at ToyCannonSports. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way through this video, I thank you so much. And I will see you next week.